Excuse me! Taxi!
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Well, John, this just in, an update from CENTCOM. The U.S. hit 7,800 Iranian targets and 120 ships. I'd say that's a pretty good record.
I didn't know that. How many ships are left?
Yeah, I know. I can't imagine, right? Well, let's find out. Let's go to Tommy Pigott. He, of course, is the spokesperson there at the U.S. State Department. And Tommy, give us an update on how the war is doing. It's great to have you back on.
Well, thanks for having me on. Well, obviously the president and press secretary are speaking this every single day, talking about what's happening, what we're seeing, and giving updates to the American people. One thing I want to stress from the State Department's perspective are our efforts to help those Americans that have been trying to leave the region. And we have seen an unprecedented and really historic effort to help Americans that may be trying to leave the region. We've assisted at this point nearly 50,000 Americans with direct and personalized travel departure options and security assistance.
Wow.
We've also seen approximately 70,000 Americans returning to the United States since February 28th. Every single American that has registered for assistance with our task force has been reached out to with that personalized departure option, with that security guidance, with that travel guidance. So we also are encouraging people still to register should they need that assistance. If you know someone in the region that is looking for help, please tell them to contact the task force at +1 202 501 4444. Hundreds of personnel working on this, really working every second to live up to our commitment, our highest priority being the safety and security of the American people.
You know, Tommy, how complex is it to get these people out? Because some of the airports have been bombed too. Like we saw, some strikes happening near like Dubai's airport and some of the others. Just talk about how complex this operation is, because sometimes when you're evacuating someone, it's from a specific area. Here, Iran is shooting, missiles and drones in so many different locations. I can't imagine just how voluminous this task is and how widespread it is.
Well, we've seen, and I can attest to this, having come from one of the task force rooms just recently, that what's happening is when people reach out and they register that assistance, you are truly seeing personalized departure options and security guidance given to people based off of where they are, literally assigning specific individuals to specific seats on flights that are appropriate to them and then offering that travel assistance to Americans that need it. So we are seeing these experienced personnel working overcoming these security challenges to offer this guidance to the American people, working 24/7. We even have folks in Mission India, the United States Mission in India, that are taking part in this task force to allow the truly 24/7 nature so we can answer the call 24/7. So it really does depend on where you are. I mean, we saw efforts where airspace is closed, for example, as you mentioned, the facilitation of ground transportation options in order to get people from where airspace is closed to where airspace is open so that they can then have that commercial flight or that U.S. arranged charter flight. So we've seen, based off of where you are, that direct guidance. We also always encourage people to sign up for STEP alerts if they go to step.state.gov. We've been providing the latest up-to-date guidance based off of the specific region where you are, the guidance directly from the State Department that people can use, can listen to. That's a worldwide service, but especially in the Middle East, we've been sending those updates continually, making sure people have the latest. So we have people worldwide, truly hundreds of people that are identifying specific travel options, overcoming security challenges. We've actually seen more charter seats supplied than demand from Americans in the region. And that's, I think, a credit to the number of people that have been working to identify as many travel options as possible to help the American people as quickly as possible.
And we have Rudy Washington, former deputy New York City mayor here, Tommy.
Hey, Tommy, just to change the topic a bit, I mean, explain this madness to me where, I understood Iran and Saudi Arabia always staring each other down, Shia, Sunni. But the whole idea of bombing hotels in other Muslim nations, what's that about?
Well, what I can say is we're reacting to it and we're adjusting it. So I'm not going to, be a pundit from that perspective here. But what I can say is what we're doing to respond to it. And every moment, every single second, we are communicating with our missions in the region, with our posts, identifying and responding to these security challenges. Every single second doing that with experienced personnel, identifying ways to overcome those security challenges and adapt to that. And that's why we see the travel guidance that's being issued. That's why we see the step alerts being issued. That's why we see the different evacuation options for Americans that need that assistance, the communication directly to those Americans that need it. So we're responding across the region. So as we see these security developments change from the State Department's perspective, we have people that are able to respond instantaneously, have been responding instantaneously. We have contingency plans that existed before Operation Epic Fury that were developed and then were instantaneously implemented as we saw these indiscriminate strikes from Iran on civilian targets across the region. We've seen that response very quickly, showing it once again, our commitment to the American people, putting the American people first. We have people at the State Department under Secretary Rubio, under President Trump, every single second working for you.
Wow. Well, bravo. 50,000 people out, Americans out. That's really an incredible feat. Tommy, keep us posted, please.
Will do. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you, Tommy Pigott.